Good morning. Typically, our focus here is on supply chains and manufacturing processes and logistics and engineering. And we tend to overlook the soft issues of growing industries and businesses, the marketing, the sales, the customer service, the cultural issues. So today, let's look at these aspects with respect to China's car manufacturers in Europe, because it is startling how quickly the European market is coming to accept Chinese car brands. We have two surveys here which illustrate the point. Carwow is an online sales company in Europe. 7 months ago, they surveyed buyers in Germany. 27% of customers said then that they would consider purchasing a car made in China. Now it's half. And this is a shocking increase, a doubling or so in such a short time. And it's also shocking because it's Germany. Germany doesn't have anything to learn about building high quality cars. And if you're a Chinese car makers and you see this poll, this is really encouraging, because if customer sentiment is moving this fast in Germany, you have to love your chances everywhere else in Europe. And it's not just Germany. Here's a second survey from Carwow of car dealers in the UK. The dealers there say that China will sell 30% of the new cars in the United Kingdom within 5 years. Only 13% said that the Chinese cars wouldn't do well there. Furthermore, these auto dealers are generally positive about what this means. Increased choice, increased competition, and many of them said they want to be selling the Chinese cars out of their own stores. The success that Chinese brands now enjoy throughout Europe shows a deep understanding of how the European car market works. For starters, the European car makers are here in China too. So China has already learned a lot from BMW and Mercedes and Audi and VW and Volvo and the others. Their factories and their executives have been here in China for a long time. They learned a lot about the European car culture and the car markets by working side by side, European car executives for 20 years. And when Chinese brands went to Europe, they built relationships with people there, with local knowledge of the market. Here's a summary of some of their other activities: sponsoring football tournaments, expanding dealerships, building out an ecosystem of spare parts and maintenance and repair and warranty work. They're also introducing new models very quickly. BYD introduced 6 new models. Great Wall will do a new model each year for the next 5. And Chery will do 8 new models only for sports utility vehicles. Their pricing strategy is also interesting. Chinese car makers are not selling in Europe at steep discounts, cutting prices to gain market share. Their strategy for Europe is different from the strategy here in mainland China. Instead, they're going for profit margins in the European markets, pricing just a little below what comparable European brands are. But the differentiator is here. Chinese cars offer options in the base models that cost extra from other car makers: cameras, digital dash. And this is similar to how the Japanese grabbed so much market share in the early days of their car exports. In Western car markets, total cost of ownership is an important consideration for car buying. It's maintenance and repair, and how well the value of the car holds up in the years after purchase. That's residual value. Chinese brands have been hard at work making that go, because the repair costs in Europe are so much higher than in China because of labor charges. So this has been a challenge, trying to understand the soft rules of the European after-sales market. The sales channels differ across different Chinese brands. GWM is Great Wall. They and Chery are working with existing European dealerships who sell other brands. The Chinese cars are on display alongside cars from Japan and Europe, and customers check them out. We just got news this morning that Great Wall might be scaling back in Europe a good bit. We're not sure yet. BYD has more money and more scale, and they're not sharing their lots with anyone. And they're also bigger spenders on marketing and advertising. They replaced Volkswagen as the key sponsor of Euro 2024, the giant European football tournament. These changes in the European market are happening very quickly. And Reuters had a feature here from a week ago, and industry insiders conclude that it's probably already too late for tariffs to change much because the Chinese are already unloading ships and filling showrooms right now. What's more, big tariffs on Chinese car makers would no doubt result in retaliation from China, which would harm German car makers here, along with a host of other industries. That means that European car makers have no out except just to figure out better ways to compete. Mr. Schmall is on the board of Volkswagen, and he says that in order to survive, European car makers simply have to move faster, to innovate faster, to cut costs faster. So he's seeing the trade figures too. Chinese cars have a huge cost advantage, which means that the Chinese can cut prices if they want. Their market share is rising fast. And if this survey of German car buyers was surprising to me, and it was, and encouraging to Chinese car makers, then it poses an existential problem for him and for the other car makers in Europe. This is the salt lake of Yuncheng in Chiense province. Be good.
Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you. Everyone who